So what's it like for you? Because I did the Padres series last year, and when you guys beat the Dodgers, and it was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been a part of. Then you went out after that and you bought all the drinks for everybody in San Diego. That was one of the
Sure.
coolest things I've ever seen. Todd Frazier's never done that. Eric Kratz has never done that. I've never done that. So please explain why and who came up with that idea.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I tell you what, I've been there for 8 years, and I went through the whole rebuilding process there in San Diego. And early on in my career, the Dodgers beat us pretty regularly over the regular season. And I think just being there in my last year in San Diego, playing against the Dodgers in the biggest series that I had played with them, to be able to beat them in that game, in that series, in the postseason was incredible. Like you said, I mean, I had never seen an atmosphere like that before. I'd played in some postseason games, but never seen the atmosphere there in the ninth inning of Game 4 there in San Diego. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen, and I felt that after the game, there was just a real buzz in the stadium. There was a real buzz in downtown, and I just felt that in that moment, it would have been cool to go out. And go to a bar and buy some drinks for the fans. I felt that in that moment it was a great win for the city. It was a lot of fun, and to be able to do that for the fans, leave on a high note was really cool.
What was the total? How much? Are you going to tell us how much?
It was $1,000 flat, actually. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
right on that line. It was perfect. It was a good story. I'll always remember that number.
Did you know you were going to be done? Did you know you weren't coming back to San Diego?
I had a pretty good feeling they weren't going to pick up the large option that was on that, and I felt that in that moment it was probably not best for both sides, but in that moment in the business it was we would just part ways. But I enjoyed my time in San Diego, had a great time. Was able to end on a high note. Obviously, I'd like to beat the Phillies there in the NLCS, but that's the way it goes sometimes in the playoffs.
Hey, Will, talk about this up and coming young kid. He's tall, Maddie McLean, tiny dude, but he's a scrapper. He gets after it a little bit. Tell everybody who doesn't really know much about him, unless you're in Cincinnati, how good this young man could be.
Yeah, this guy can play, man. And I saw a little bit of him in spring training. Play a little bit. I knew he was quick. I knew he had good hands. But to be able to see him over here for the last week and a half, it's been a lot of fun. He's very energetic on the field. He plays great defense. I think he's one of the best I've seen at really charging soft ground balls, getting the out. It's something that I feel that some middle infielders can struggle with. This guy really gets to the ball well. I like what he does at the plate. He's got a great approach for a young player. The guy goes out there and has good at bats each and every day. It's been a lot of fun to watch him play shortstop and hitting the 2-hole for us.
You had mentioned earlier how the Dodgers, during your time with the Padres, kind of beating the brakes off you guys, and then you guys do it to them. I know that felt really good. Do you feel like maybe the Padres celebrated that too much and have kind of a hangover this year?
Listen, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't followed them too much. I know that it hasn't went as well as everybody thought, but I think that's a great team in San Diego. They got a ton of talent. I don't necessarily think there's a hangover. I think there was a ton of excitement there in that off season with all the guys that they brought in. So I think they're obviously very talented. I think they're going to win a lot of games. Obviously, that Dodger team, they do a great job over there. They've been doing it a long time. They seem to have a way to win 95 plus games almost every single year. So, I know that's going to be a tough one to kind of take down, but I think the San Diego Padres are obviously very talented. I don't think they'll necessarily have a tough time getting to the playoffs, but we'll see.
Will, come on, be serious here. You check that score every day, and every time they lose, you get a little bit of you should have picked up my option, that big option I had, you sons of bitches. It's okay. We're all playing. We know how it goes. You have a big option. You're like, man, if they would have kept me for my $20 million, man, we would have been winning way more games.
They need an apple.
Nah, man. You know what, dude? I'll tell you what. Those guys have a good team. I think it was one of those things that they decided to spend that money in a different way. It is what it is. That's the way this game goes. Obviously, I check some box scores every now and then. I got a lot of good friends on that team, so I like to see how they're doing. I think they're I'm definitely not pulling against them. I'm pulling for the Padres. I really like A.J. Preller there. I like Peter Seidler a lot. So I'm pulling for those guys to really do something well there in San Diego.